I think it's gonna be one of those that it's gonna be one of those issues that's really going to, I think, take its toll on lawmakers and on policymakers. I don't think that they're willing to accommodate that at all. So, I mean, who knows? It could be decades. For all anybody knows, it could be next year. I mean, it's one of those things that, if enough people gain interest and recognize and understand it, hey, we're not out to, rob your kids and, molest your kids, and we're not out to do this, we're not out to do that. We just want a family. If we want to be able to adopt, we want to be able to adopt kids. If we, whatever. I mean, we just want to be treated like everyone else, and and it's. I don't want to, sit here and whine about how I'm not being treated good and this and that. I want to be one of those people that make change, and making change starts by recognizing our faults in the past and learning from them. And we're America is not exempt from I don't know how to say it. I guess it's we began the country began as a separation from a body that they didn't agree with. And I think it started off good. It started off as a good idea to innovate, to change. I think we're falling behind. So
like
there's so many problems to fix that it's. I don't think that's going to be at the beginning of the line, in no way. I think with it being a capitalist country, I think that there's other things to be had. There's other monies to be made. I don't think that that's going to benefit anybody but the people that actually want to get married.
So it's like the first couple 100 years, America takes all these great strides, and then suddenly it's like we're kind of frozen, right?
It is, yeah. I think we've kind of built the bed that we're afraid to lie in, and I think that the more that we progress in technology, I think the more individualistic we become, and we rely, solely on I. So in order for everyone to recognize and understand and educate themselves on, on other cultures, other lifestyles, everything that's not them, I think people as a whole, I think we need to start, going back to, socializing and not being afraid of your neighbor. And, September 11th took a lot of that away from us. And I think people are afraid to, to put it like, in a different tense, I guess, to hold hands and be happy and be, I mean, not like tree hugging or anything, but I mean, it's almost like we're afraid to care anymore. And I think that's the problem. It's not necessarily just America. I think it's just humanity as a whole has just progressed into a state of not caring per se. We're relying on so much, on time to get us here, and we're so busy, and we're relying on computers to do these things for us, and everything is direct, accessible now, and we've taken a lot of humanity out of all of that, and I think that's where we need to focus back on. We need to focus back on caring for people. We need to focus back on saying good morning and hello and thank you, and chivalry is dead, and when did all this leave? When did people start caring for each other? And it goes back, maybe going back to the gay marriage issue is when did we start voting for who is going to get married? And I never voted for my mom and dad to get married. No one ever voted for my mom and dad to get married, when they did, or whoever. I mean, they didn't have to face that because they were, meant to carry out this idea. And, I feel that, it's unjust, it's criminalizing, it's biased. There's so many words you can throw out there that what it is for why we can't. And there's so much work that has to be done, for society to accept a lot of different ideals. And I think, gay marriage is definitely one of those that it has to start accommodating. If it will, then I would be surprised.
Do you think that there's any type of correlation between the struggles that, for example, African Americans or even just minorities in general faced, specifically 50s through, I guess you could even say now? Do you think there's any correlation between the way they were treated and the way gays are treated, even if it's just metaphorically, even if it's not literally hoses being thrown on you guys? I mean, do you feel like sometimes the hose is being thrown on you, even if it's not literally being?
Yeah, it can all be taken out into metaphor. Now, it's not the hose that we're not being hosed down. We're not allowed to not drink from fountains, this and that. It is comparable. But you get a lot of these cases about the cyberbullying that's been sensationalized. I mean, that was going on when I was a teenager. It's nothing new. Yeah, it's happening more, and there's more people in the world. So I expect that for those kinds of actions to happen again. I'm comparing it to the African American struggle as far as rights goes. It's similar, yes. I think it's different when you look at it from my perspective, where these people were oppressed, and yes, they were not allowed to do certain things. However, they were never allowed to not get married, which is
so
very
there's
personal.
A big difference there.
So it is a big difference there, because I mean, they can't hide their skin color, and we can't hide our sexuality. So I mean, yes, they could get married. No, we couldn't get married if we needed to. I mean, there was part of the Holocaust. There was plenty of gays that were there too. So I mean, it's always going to happen. But I mean, even just with gay African Americans, how they're treated, and how Latin American gays are treated. I mean, there's always the discriminating factors, but then it's like discriminating the discriminated, if that makes sense. Like, it's doing something that, like, I don't like. I guess what I'm trying to say is, when the Prop 8 was going before, the majority was the minorities that voted for that, and I felt hurt by that, because I felt not. Yeah, it is against some religions, for whatever, for gays to get married or whatever. But at the same time, in the back of their head, were they not thinking, I too face this. I have faced it before, discrimination, and taking that feeling. I don't understand, why they would vote against it. And it's the same way. I think it's where the difference lies. Is the minorities and men, voted against gay marriage, and I feel like yeah, I mean, okay, you're free to feel that way, but at the same time, think back in your head when, you have ever been picked on, or you've ever been discriminated against. That feeling. Think about that every day, how that feels to wake up, that feeling, there, and, always presented to you. It's only there because, you're allowing these. I guess you're allowing this to be there. You're allowing the obstacles to be there. You're allowing, I rant. I told you I rant. But I guess what I'm trying to say to simplify it is, take that and, use that small little, glimmer of however you felt, and apply that to what, to how you feel about this. And, it's not much different. I'm not speaking for all gays. I mean that would be absurd. But I'm speaking for myself, and as a gay American, I feel like, yeah. I mean it's hard to think about people that don't approve of something that's my love, and that's my personal issue. It's a personal thing that I want to do, and yet people are against it, and I think it's almost too personal to be